Felicitations, adventurers! Welcome to Roll for Felicity, where normally we play serialized one-shots, but today is the beginning of a new horizon for Roll for Felicity. We are doing our first non-one-shot kind of campaign. I think I'm going to be calling it a mini-series, because it's not going to be, like, campaign I feel like is like, we've been playing for years and years and years. This will probably not be years and years and years unless it's very difficult to schedule. But we're going to be playing Good Society. And I am here with Xavery, Tag, Arielle, and Mace. And if you've been watching the stream for a little while, you might recognize some of these faces because we've played Good Society before. Good Society is a Jane Austen themed tabletop RPG. We had a one-shot with it before. That was so much fun, so delightful. It's on YouTube if you haven't already seen it. And it's just great. It's very fun. And I think as soon as we finished, I DM'd everyone and was like, hey, do we want to do more sessions of this? Because although the one shot was wonderful, I do feel this game really benefits from having multiple sessions, because you get to build out the characters more, there's more drama, so I'm very excited for this. Hello, Melanie, all these very good faces, yes, I love to see all these very good faces on stream. I'm gonna let these very good faces introduce themselves. First of all, my name is Taylor. I'm the person behind Roll for Felicity if you're new here. Usually we do play one-shots, but this is our very first character creation stream for a non-one-shot. I think that's the important things about me. I am starting off all of everyone's introductions with a question of if you could have a tabletop RPG based on a different, like, literary work, what would you want that to be? And I didn't think about it until just now, even though it's my game, or my question for the game. And the only one I can think of is Peter Pan, but there is already a setting for that. So maybe I'll come back. Maybe I'll come back to me after I hear your answers. But I'm gonna throw it over to Xavery to introduce yourself and answer the same question.
Okay, hi, I'm Xavery, she, her, and I was thinking, I started reading the Lilith Brood series by Octavia Butler recently, about this woman from Earth who wakes up on a spaceship full of aliens, and they kind of have to, like, teach them her culture and stuff, and I'm like, I think that would make a really cool tabletop, and then I was like, I think Motherlands can do that. And I'm like, yeah. I think that's already a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what's hard, I feel like, about this question, because I think I tweeted, like, a couple months ago or something, I was like, oh, I really wish there was, like, these 3 settings for campaigns, which I had looked up before, not before tweeting, but I had looked up before in general, and somebody immediately was like, 2 of those are coming out. Like, a Dark Crystal one and Avatar, which Avatar I knew, like, had been in production, but I think, I had thought that it was not going forward or something, but I think it's out now. But anyway, yeah, that's kind of what's tough about it. Tag, if you want to introduce yourself and same question.
I do. I did have myself muted. There we go. Hello, I'm Tag. I usually use they, them. My answer is not as cool as Xavery's. That's a very good one. I started thinking about this, and the first thing that came to mind was, for some reason, The Black Arrow by Robert Louis Stevenson. It's just, like, very romantic adventure set in the War of the Roses, and I don't know, it hits a tone that, like, when I read it when I was maybe in 8th grade or something, I was just like, yes, romantic adventures always.
Yeah. I'm not familiar with that book, but I have read Robert Louis Stevenson, and that seems good. Arielle, do you want to introduce yourself to the class?
Hi, I'm Arielle. My pronouns are she, her. And I don't know. I really liked your ideas, Taylor, of like Avatar and Dark Crystal, like being a Skeksis would be hilarious.
Yes.
What I was thinking was the Redwall books. I don't know if you guys read those when you were kids.
Yeah.
But like just playing little like woodland creatures, and it's basically classic D&D, but animals, I guess. But that would be really cute.
Yeah. Again, yeah, Melanie's saying it. Mouse Order is a game where you can play like that. It's not based on Redwall, but and if that sounds good to you, we do have some, this is not directed at you, Arielle, but to the ether, to the chat. If you too think Redwall sounds like it would be fun, we do have some Mouse Order one-shots that are on the Roll for Felicity YouTube. And it is a little bit, like Redwall-esque. And very fun. But it would be fun to have like an official like Redwall like source guide, I feel like, because there's so much lore with Redwall that would be cool to tap into. But yeah, that's great. I like that a lot. And
How
then
much of that source
yeah.
book do you think would be, I'm so sorry, how much of that source book do you think would just be devoted to meals though?
I would be fine if it was all.
Oh, good.
I would be fine if it was just like, these are the rabbits, this is what they eat. These are the mice, this is what they eat. I would just be like, cool. That's all I want. But yeah, Mace, how about you?
Hi, I'm Mace. I also use she, her pronouns. God, Redwall is such a good idea. I don't know why I didn't think of that. Now I'm like just possessed by that. The trouble with picking a literary option is that I don't read a lot of long form novels that aren't Jane Austen, because I don't have the attention span, but I read a lot of poetry and a lot of like poetic short stories, so I feel like almost like an escape from the world of Edgar Allan Poe could be really intriguing. Like you keep finding yourself in these situations, like being bricked up behind a wall, or I don't know, being framed for murder by a heart. I don't know, we'll work on it in post, but something bringing some of those stories to life as like a series of challenges could be cool.
I would love that. Yeah,
that's awesome. I do love that. I did think of an actual answer while everyone was talking, which is, I haven't read these books in forever, but they were like completely my jam when I was in high school. But like the Tamara Pierce books, like was it Tortall, I think, those would be, I mean, you could do that in D&D, like it's fantasy basically, but that would be fun. I would like to do that. So that's my official answer. All of these lovely people in the chat, I did just, the bot just posted links to where you can find everyone on their various social medias. And also, Tay didn't mention this, but they do have a game that they wrote that's on itch, and the link to that is also in chat. And I believe we're going to be playing that on stream. We don't have a date for that yet, but going to be playing that on stream, and Tate's going to run it for us, which I'm very excited for. And the game is called Wizard Pals. I don't think I actually said that. I just said it was in there. But yeah, I think that's the getting started stuff. So I think we can just jump right into our prepping for this, for our story that we're going to be telling together. And where we'll start off first is with collaboration. So with collaboration, we're all going to collectively decide on, which some of this we've talked about pre-stream because it helped me pick what playbooks we were going to use, or play set, sorry. But I'll go over it anyway. But we're going to be picking like the tone, some things about like what the setting is going to be like. And then we're also going to be talking about things that we want to avoid in our game and things that we want to definitely, or not definitely, but would love to see in the game. So the first thing is tone for the story. And our last one-shot, we did a romantic comedy. So pre-stream, we talked about maybe doing a farce. Because we like the idea of still being able to like goof off and like not take things too seriously as a drama. Is everyone still on board with that, or do we want to revisit the genre?
Still totally down for an absolute farce.
Yeah, I'm into trying something a little different than last time, and I don't think that necessarily rules out more dramatic moments for us,
Yeah.
but I like the idea of like really leaning into comedy.
Yes. Melanie is just chanting, farce, farce, farce. Yes, I do also like the idea of a farce. And some of the character, like the play sets that we used, I think will be really funny as a farce and like really interesting. And I think if anybody wants to, could really lean into kind of a villain archetype, like a farce villain, because some of you do will end up with desires that are like on their face seem pretty villainous, although, you know, you can play them however you'd like to. Last time we played, we decided that we wanted historical accuracy to be somewhat important. How do we feel about that for a longer mini-series, I guess?
I mean, I might be, with playing a bit longer, I think it would be easier to kind of forget from time to time. I don't necessarily want to like throw it out the window, but yeah, I mean, especially if it's a farce, it feels like being very willing to just like let that go at
add
times.
some anachronistic silliness.
Yeah.
All for that.
Yeah, Mace, what do you think?
Oh yeah, no, I agree. I think that obviously a lot of the stuff of the time period makes the game what it is, but it doesn't seem like farce is going to be here to really stick to that necessarily. So yeah, somewhat important seems, or a little important seems fitting for what we're going to be doing.
Yeah, do we think a little important, or are we leaning towards somewhat important?
I think somewhat important allows us to like embrace some of the stuff that's just fucking stupid about Regency.
Yeah.
Like, I can't dance with you twice. Who do you think I am? I mean, I'm gonna look like an idiot. But we still have a little bit of freedom to do something anachronistic, like Xavier said.
If it's somewhat, can my character have a motorcycle? That's all I'm kind of wondering about at this point.
You can have an infernal machine. You know, there is...
I want to call it an infernal machine!
Yeah. But the reason why I say that is because I didn't realize that there were a bunch of like really interesting expansions for Good Society. Mace and Tig, you may already know this because I don't know when they came out, but there is like one with magic. It's called, let me look it up. Okay, so you don't know this. It might be newer. I haven't been keeping up with it. I'll look at the different ones because there were some really interesting ones, especially like if you like this style of storytelling but aren't super attached to like Jane Austen specifically. Let me see the bundle.
God, I was so joking about the motorcycle thing.
But like, yeah, that is what it made me think of. That like if we were playing one of those expansions, which we're not, but where is this on here? It's maybe I just have to scroll down. The book, the cards. Oh, and there's also a LARP version, which I didn't see until just now. Holy cow. They've done so much with this. I would love to LARP this.
This is the best game.
Okay, the expansions are...
Just like a tea party LARP.
Yes! That would be so fun.
So cute.
The expansions are Pride, Prejudice, and Practical Magics, which has spellcasting and enchantments. They also have one that's kind of like Downton Abbey inspired called Downstairs at the Abbey, where you play like the servants and stuff. And then there's also Sensibility and Swordsmanship, which says add masked identities to Austen's world, as well as a new rooftop phase, mechanics for carrying out daring deeds. And then the last one seemed like it was, I didn't read too much about it, but it's called Emma Forget Me Not. And it seems like you're like at sea or like at war and like keeping up correspondence with like the people back home.
This is like the best game ever written, I think. This is great.
Yeah.
Next to Wizard Pals Only, of course, but like this is really good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get like all these expansions. This is awesome. I love this.
Yeah, when I saw that, I was like, oh, I kind of wish I would have seen Pride and Prejudice and Practical Magics before before we had prepped, because maybe I'd
Next time.
Next time. Anyway, sorry, back to the matter at hand. So are we thinking somewhat important then?
I think that's the most fitting.
Cool. So the description for that, just because I think it's probably a little bit too small for the audience to read, is we'll try to get it right where it counts, but we'll never stop the game to find out a historical fact. During breaks, we will call on other players with more knowledge when something seems particularly important. If we're not sure, we'll make the best guess we can. And I will add an addendum to that, is perhaps if something seems like it would be really funny to be anachronistic, that maybe we can add that up too. The next question is, how will we treat the gender power balance? Last time we played with gender roles off. The other options are historical or in reverse. So historical would be, you know, still under the patriarchy. Shake my fist. In reverse would be like essentially a matriarchy. But what are we thinking?
I liked off last time, personally. I liked that it was an even playing ground, for one.
I'm seeing...
Yeah, I wouldn't mind keeping it off again, just because it gives the most, like, options.
Yeah, I'm seeing nods from everyone else. Does anyone have other opinions or anything like that, or is the nodding your opinion?
I feel like the only reason to do historical is just to, like, satirize it and make fun of it. But we can still do that with it off.
Yes, that's true. And also a lot of, like, class-based satirization, I think, too, because the play set that we picked is, like, I think pretty set up for some of that, too. So if we want to do, like, you know, making fun of something silly that is a thing that exists in the world, we can always do that. Cool. And then this actually we don't have to do because I already made the executive decision. Hidden information, we won't have any, just because it's pretty hard, I think, to play this game online and not being in person, having the hidden information. So for character creation, everyone will be able to see everyone's desires and relationships. There's like a public side and a private side to all of that, but everyone will be able to see everything. Your characters won't know the private information, but as players, we all will. And next, I will take notes for this as you all talk it out. But is there anything that our games should avoid?
Murder. Unless it's funny. I don't know.
Yeah, now what's the funny threshold on murder?
Yeah.
Like, does it have to include a rubber chicken, or...
Rubber chicken or like a retractable knife.
I feel like murdering someone with a retractable knife would be horrific.
Yeah, no, so much worse than a regular knife.
Such a brutal way to murder someone.
I didn't have any information to back up this claim. I didn't think this through at all.
Murder unless it's funny.
I think it's a rule of the channel, from what I remember, that like real life bigotry as a whole is not really brought into that. That covers a lot of it for me.
Yeah, and just for clarity for the audience, the reason why, so like when people are joining a game, I have like a little thing for everyone to fill out with like lines and veils, like that's usually the safety mechanic I use, and I include like as a line, I say real life bigotry because sometimes we were playing fantasy games, so that's the reason why. In this, it is not fantasy, so any bigotry in this game would be real life bigotry, but so I guess I can get rid of real life in this little thing. Bigotry. And then also I will say, I think if between this session and when we actually play, if anyone thinks of other things that they have as like things they don't want to include, any of you can edit this Google Doc, so if you just pop in and be like, oh hey, this is another thing, and then we can go over that before we actually start playing. But while I'm writing this, are there any other things that people don't want to have come up?
Nothing comes to mind.
Cool. And like I said, we can revisit that definitely. Is there anything we would love to see in this game?
One of the things that I loved so much about the last game was seeing all of the characters get together. And I know that we're going for Farce, but I think at least like one romance storyline would be really cute. Even if it's not at the forefront. I think one of the desires might actually have a hook for that. So
yes.
It might happen on its own anyway.
Yeah, one of the desires is related to engagement. Although that doesn't we'll get into it, but that particular desire is maybe not the cutest, because I think it's like make 2 engagements and then break one of them off. Very funny. Yeah, one romance storyline. I think last time we had that we wanted to have like a rose garden was one of the things that people wanted. I can't
make
remember
that a
what
running theme.
Just a rose garden every time we ever play.
A rose garden.
If we're doing Farce, I would like to see at least one like mistaken identity, like
I was gonna say the same thing.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, like a comedy of errors moment. Yeah.
Mistaken identity, misunderstanding.
That's a good answer.
Something like that, yeah. I'll put it.
I didn't know how much I wanted that until you said it.
Yeah, I love that. I do want to see this. This is not so. None of these things are things that have to happen. If they end up not coming up, you know, we're not signing a contract. Melanie is saying butts, cute butts, is something that she would like to see.
Interesting.
So might go against Twitch's TOS. So I don't know if I can put that on here. I would like to see, whether it be a main character or a like supporting character, like a connection. I would love to see a real villain. I think that would be really funny. Like a snidely Whiplash.
I was just gonna say like a mustache twisted.
Yeah. I would love to see like a straight up like real horrible villain.
I just think it would be really funny with like the mistaken identity doing something where like the villain might also be like a really charming man, but for some reason, because when he does have a twisted mustache, everyone thinks he's evil.
Just the actual villain is just like very straight laced.
Yeah. The actual villain seems like, very nice.
This is just the best way to keep my mustache in line, you guys. I don't know. They haven't invented beard balm yet.
Wonderful. Okay, so we've got at least one romance storyline, mistaken identity / misunderstanding, a snidely Whiplash-esque villain.
Just a real bastard in there somewhere.
Just a real bastard, yeah. Any other things we'd love to see?
I guess this is the kind of thing that doesn't, I guess it doesn't have to happen. I want to see like one person just like get totally disinherited, since we're talking about like rivalry and revenge and this sort of like getting back at people. I want to see someone just get completely fucked up. Whether it's at the end or the middle, then we get to see what happens from there. I think that's
one of the desires too.
Yeah.
I'm really just going off of the material that we have.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would love to see that happen to somebody.
Yeah.
And then have to keep going and like build back up from there.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
We love the drama. So I'm just gonna put drama as well. Not as a kind of, well, I guess we were talking about this pre-stream, but as a like kind of, what is the word? Like reality TV show drama, not drama as in the genre.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Does anybody else have other things that they want me to get in here? And again, this is something that can be revisited too.
The only thing that's going through my head is based off of Melanie's comment, and it's just Arse and Farce. It's just all I can hear in my head.
Arse and Farce. Oh
All
my
right. Oh,
gosh.
that's maybe all the time I've got for the stream today.
Tang's out of here. I will say I don't have like I try to think of like kind of quippy little names for like the one shots. So like the last time we played it was like Pride and Prejudice, even though there's no dice in this. So Arse and Farce.
This is good. Arse and Farce are really good.
It does fit the Jane Austen like Pride and Prejudice,
It
Sense
does
and
have a
Sensibility.
ring to it, huh?
Good Society, Arse and Farce. I think we might be able to do
Oh,
that.
that's great.
I'm gonna write that down so I don't forget. Arse
stuff.
and Farce. The other thing that I think we should maybe, this isn't specifically in the collaboration section of the rules, but that we should maybe talk about is how many sessions do we want this to go for? I think 4 at least, because that's kind of the like prescribed number of sessions, like if you're not trying to do a really truncated story. But what do you all think?
Trying to like remember all of the sections of like a fully run game.
Yeah.
I mean, at least 4 seems reasonable because we have like the way we did it last time was like a scene, the like sort of communication section, another scene, and then a wrap up.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like a short version of how the full game is supposed to go. So
Right.
that seems reasonable.
And last time we did truncate some of those a little bit. So like normally the like letter writing section, you all would get to write like multiple letters, and we had it just limited to 1, I think, because we were trying to keep it like to a reasonable amount of time, and stuff like that. So we could have, you know, longer scenes and then also a couple of cycles, I think, if we did 4. Cool. I will write that down in my notes as well. So probably after this 4 sessions. And again, that's not like set in stone, but if somebody was like, I don't really want to do 4, I only want to do 3, I would want to know that now, because for connections that impacts like how many connections we make, etc., etc. But if we do 4, then we can just play it like, you know, the normal rules, not like the truncated version. Is there anything else that anybody wants to talk about while we're in this collaboration phase? Okay.
Feeling good. Feeling excited.
Arse and Farce.
Let's
Farce.
get ready to
Arse and Farce.
let's get ready to look at these characters for a Good Society, Arse and Farce. So I will, for the benefit of stream, because I do have this character sheet up like on screen for people, but the text is probably pretty small. Once we decide on characters, it'll get a little bit more legible because we have an extra character that we won't be using, which I assume will probably be this 5th one, since it is the exact same desire and relationship as Mace had for the last game. But if somebody wants to play that, it's definitely open-ended enough that you could play that one. But I'll go ahead and just read out the desires, so that chat kind of knows what we're working with, and to give all of you a chance to think about, you know, if there's one you're leaning towards. So first we have a major character whose desire is to disinherit their elder sibling. The drama. Phi, be the tradition that the firstborn inherits all and the younger siblings are left without a penny. Your elder sibling is nothing but a fool who would soon lead the estate to ruin. You must convince your parents to cut them out of the will and name you as the sole heir. You just need one scandal, betrayal, or ill-advised relationship to change their mind. After all, they've always liked you better. And then with that character, you do create, as one of your connections has to be a parent. A parent, not the word apparent. And then the next one we have, the desire, is to reunite the feuding families through marriage or inheritance. Your family is trapped in a bitter feud, caught in an endless struggle with another family in town. In your grandparents' day, the 2 sides worked together for the betterment of both, until one day a quarrel divided 2 families forever. Yet, such a thing is preposterous, This antagonism, I don't think I copied this right because this sentence doesn't really make sense. Such thing as preposterism, this antagonism threatens the fortunes and futures of both families. You must find a way to end the feud before it destroys your inheritance. And things that all characters would know about the existence of the feud, who it is between. That's not private information. The next desire... oh, hello, Tokyo Xena. Hey, sorry. I was reading over here. I didn't see you in chat, but welcome. We're doing some character creation. The next one, the desire, is receive proposals from or make successful proposals to at least 2 eligible individuals. Marry one and discreetly farewell the other. People in this world are so unreliable. Even the most faithful of affections are quickly cast aside when a wealthier target comes into view. You have realized the folly of putting your hopes in but one place. The careful hunter checks all their snares, and only the finest morsel is cooked and eaten for dinner. Which is why I mentioned that the one with the romantic desire is a little bit, maybe not cute, but you could play it that way, I guess. The next one, turn your enemy's connections against them. For years, you have lived in the shadow of another. You watched as they received the undeserved benefits of wealth, privilege, and connection while you were coldly overlooked. You suffered as the things you prized were taken from you and given to them. No longer. Now is the time to correct the past's mistakes. You are ready, willing, and able to turn the table so emphatically that they can never be turned back. And then, finally, the last desire... Restore your reputation and be forgiven by your former friend. Once you enjoyed the pleasures of friendly company and good opinion, until in a single instant your mad passions led you to throw it all away. In one rash act, you wronged another deeply and plunged yourself into interminable disrepute. Now, all you seek is to bury your past, regain your good name, and find forgiveness. And then with this one, you create and spread a rumor about what you did, and then you start with 1 extra negative reputation tag and 1 extra resolve token. And if that sounds familiar, that is the character that Mace played during the last Good Society stream. So I'll turn it over to all of you to talk out if one of these is one you're feeling. I will say, which adds to the drama, the person who wants to disinherit their elder sibling, their relationship is with another major character as the sibling. So if you're playing as the person who wants to disinherit your elder sibling, you are trying to do this to another player, which is very exciting. And similarly, the one that's turn your enemy's connections against them, your rival is another major character. So if you pick those, you are going to have an antagonistic relationship with another major player character. So if that's something that you're like, I don't know if I'm into that, something to be thinking about.
For my part, I don't know if I'm into that. I'm a little bit too intimidated by that. I think to do it or do it very well. So with that, I like both the options of the second and third. I'm interested in either one of those.
I kind of like the fourth one where it says turn your enemy's connections against them.
It's a juicy one.
It kind of is.
The 2 I was kind of immediately looking at were either the second or fourth, the reunite the feuding families, or turn your enemy's connections against them. I think my brain immediately went, it would either be very funny to just be sort of like a put upon, like, this is all stupid. Why don't any of you realize how stupid this whole situation is?
Yeah.
Or to lean into being terrible, but...
I also really like the first one, though, the disinherit your elder sibling.
God, that's so good.
It is really good.
Arielle, any of those?
Yeah, it's so hard to decide. I think I was thinking the second one, but like since you guys are also saying the second one, I'm open to like do whatever. I do want to play a guy this time who's kind of nefarious.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited for that. Immediately excited.
I guess. What do I want? I would love to have a rival.
Yeah, and so like if you want to be like the rival, like you can kind of like if you want to be the person who is trying to take down their rival, then that would be the fourth one. But you can still be involved in that storyline if you if the person who has that as their relationship gives you the other half of it, if that makes sense. Because the relationship description for that is the giver and taker of this card are rivals. For the taker, this may be a trivial rivalry, so it's up to you. But for the giver, it's certainly a bitter one. So it can be bitter on both ends, or the taker of the card can just be like, oh yeah, this is like, silly to me.
I'll say I'm interested in playing somebody a little bit different than Florence was last time.
Yeah.
And Florence was very kind of uppity, in everybody's business, and trying to play all their cards at once. So if no one is opposed, I think I would like to do the second one, which seems a little bit more like can we please stop fighting? Jesus Christ. I'm sick of it. Just so messed up. Unless anyone is opposed, which I'm happy to debate. That's a weird word for it. Happy to talk about it.
What if I played the first one and Mace plays the elder sibling who's trying to get everybody to get along, but I am trying to oust her.
Ooh.
Disinherit my elder sibling.
And maybe
I thought the first
feud,
and second would go well together.
The feud kind of benefits the younger sibling because the turmoil keeps them in power or something.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. I do like that proposition.
I'm very interested. That's very cool.
It's very juicy.
Well, if you guys go for those two, I could take the third one. And Zavery can be a villainous monster.
I think the only one that doesn't immediately seem like a monster is the second one.
We'll see. She might get so hardened by the events of the game that she ends up the big bad by the end.
Yeah.
She might get wizened by time.
I've given up on all of you.
Yeah. Are you cool with that? Because I think the third one was not one that you initially said you were interested in. So
It wasn't one of the ones that jumped out at me most, but I can kind of work with whatever, honestly. So I just want to see people in roles that interest them.
Yeah. Cool. I think if we're all cool with that, that is cool. I mean, also if you wanted to, because I know you're kind of interested in playing kind of a different character archetype than you have played, which I don't think this third one has to fit into that same thing. I think this character, the description of the desire seems very world weary, which seems like kind of a vibe you might be going for. I just don't want you to feel like you have to take that one if you feel like it's going to be playing too close to something.
Oh no, listen, all I care about at this point is not playing a terminally pathetic man. That's all I ever play on your stream, and I need to not be that person.
Draft dodger.
Yeah.
This is technically the opposite.
Oh,
the exact
that was
opposite.
the best part.
Yes. Cool. Okay, so go ahead and whichever one that you ended up with, you can edit the Google Doc to put your own name and your own pronouns, so we know who's playing who. And then, who was it that last time figured out how to hide this last?
That was me.
Okay, can you do that again? Because
just the last one.
Yeah, the last one that no one's playing. Thank you, Arielle.
Sure. It's okay. I work with Excel like all day, every day, so it's my
It's your bread and butter.
guide. Yeah. Okay. Or my curse. I don't know. I think I messed it up. Let me try.
And while you do that, I will adjust.
Okay. All better.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Okay. So now, if I adjust this, people watching should be able to see more what we're doing. Make it a little bit bigger. Sleep Child just said, I am excited for the accents.
Say about that one.
Yeah, if I try to do accents for supporting characters, it'll be very hit or miss. But
It is a farce.
It is a farce. That's true. That's true. If I do a bad accent, I can just say, "Hey, what do you expect?" This.
Oh yeah, you're
This
on
is called
board.
comedy?
It's genre.
It's called Arse and Farce. What did you expect out of me?
We're not BBC One over here. Please don't get it twisted.
Yeah. The last game that I played, the Mouse Ritter game, Melanie. I have a channel point redemption that is like give someone a silly voice. Like you can make me do a silly voice for an NPC, and Melanie had me do Edwin, who was like the Mad Hatter. So this fairy queen like sounded like the Mad Hatter from Alice in Wonderland. And then Sleep Child redeemed points to make me have somebody else sound like John Mulaney, which was much less successful. My Edwin that's a little bit of an easier one to do. John Mulaney, I feel like you actually have to be good at impressions to do a John Mulaney impression. But cool. Okay, so, we already had some ideas for relationships. Arielle proposed having Mace's character be their sibling, and everyone seemed excited for that. Are we still feeling that?
So good. Yeah. That's
Cool.
Great.
I have a proposition. So last time I was Fanny Penny Bottom, but I really feel like that would have been a great name for this. Arse and Farce.
That's true. You could be a different Penny Bottom.
Or what about a Phillip Farthingbottom?
Farthingbottom.
Yes. I mean, it's your character, so you can
Step
pick
up.
whatever name you like. Well, I guess it affects Mace as well, I guess, if you're siblings. So.
No. I'm into this. I only got into Penny Bottom by relation last time.
That's
so
true.
like to be born into this family now is phenomenal. I'm so into it. Because it sounds like farting bottom.
I know.
Yeah.
When I typed it, I accidentally typed farting bottom, and I was like,
one of the first names I came up with, first names,
Farce.
because I was doing a little bit of messing around with names I might like, and that works so well with one of them. Oh god, I'm psyched. It's great. It's gonna be so good.
Yes. Okay. My only request, which you don't have to honor, but last time I think we had multiple people with the same first initial, and I was getting people's names confused so much. So if we've got a Phillip Farthingbottom, Mace, if you want to do something that's not a sound for your first name, but that's, if you really have your heart set on something, I won't say no.
On that one.
I can't deny you your wonderful names, but I can only humbly request.
I've got one that's not an F sound.
Okay. Cool. Xavery, do you have an idea of who you might want your rival to be?
I'm not sure.
Yeah. Who do you want to take down?
Who do you want to just demolish in this fun mini-series game?
Let me see. So Phillip is already working against Mace's character.
Yes.
Now, what if we're all working against that one character?
I mean,
Who's just trying to get everybody to get along?
I mean, two of you do have relationships. Like, that are friends, I think. But if nobody chose to be friends with, well, no, Mace. Not everyone can be against Mace because Mace does have built-in a friend.
Now, but what if
I
that?
got one.
What if that friendship is with Xavery and Xavery's trying to take
and
you
I'm
down and you
working
don't?
Yeah, it's like
against
a frenemy.
Phillip. Yeah. Oh, I was
And
gonna say,
Constance is
what
like-
if Mace is friends with my character and my rival was Phillip?
Oh,
That makes sense.
Hmm.
I do like that because although it's not like against the rules, having people swap relationships with each other is discouraged because you can end up having a really separate storyline from everyone else if your two
True,
relationships
true.
are like the same. But I do like the idea of having Xavier be friends with Mace's
I just saw
character.
Constance Farthingbottom.
Constant Farthingbottom.
Oh, this is so good.
Awful.
This is great.
Very
I do
true.
have a super above board. I do have a question. We had said that we weren't going to play with any private information. Does that mean that like we are ignoring the parts of our relationship that are private, or we're just making all that information public?
All the information is public to the players. So any
Cool.
private information would be private information between the characters. So like I
Got it.
think especially it matters to you because you have
Does.
a public relationship that is different than your private relationship with someone.
That's why I
so-
was interested.
So, you'd be playing both of those things. The other players would know about both of those things. The characters would not. Do you want to talk about what
Right.
your secret,
Oh,
your
I'd
secret
love
is?
to.
If you're thinking about having it with
so-
Savory.
My relationship is friends of major character. Public knowledge for characters is that the giver and taker of this card are long-standing acquaintances. They visit on rare occasions. The private information between Xavery's character and I is that of the old flame. The giver and taker of these cards are old flames. They had a romance once, and while the raging fire of their feelings has quietened, the spark never truly dies. Whoa! So it's very interesting. Man,
that's
this
good.
keeps getting better and better.
Good and spicy.
Very spicy.
Yes. And we are playing the play set. If anyone is like, wow, is this game always this dramatic? The answer is it can be, but we are using the play set that's called, what is it called? It's called like Rivalry and Revenge. So this one is spicier than average. If you're watching this and you're like, this game seems fun, but like, why are all these characters like this?
Why are we all fighting?
we picked a
Stop.
drama. We picked a drama one. So yeah, Xavier, what do you think about being friends / an old flame of Constance Farthingbottom?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Excellent.
Cool. So that would leave your rival could be either Tag's character or Phillip Farthingbottom. Or if you still are kind of trying to think about who you want your rival to be, Tag, you do have a best of friends character that you would have a
Yes.
relationship with. So if either of you have thoughts on who you want that to be. And Tay, you can pick any of them because you don't have established relationships with anyone.
Yeah. Paralyzed by choice. Best of friends. Being best of friends with Phillip sounds entertaining because he has, like, nefarious motives.
Yeah,
I mean, most of them do.
yeah. I would say being best of friends with Phillip would, which I think is a benefit, would automatically cause drama between you and
Yeah.
Constance and Xavier's character, which I think is a plus because we're kind of
True.
going for the
That's a
height
lot
of
of
drama.
built-in things right away. That is
Yeah.
fun.
And because you're trying to make proposals, so like, you know,
Right.
having that tie in as
having to,
well
like,
would be fun. Yeah.
Reappeal to everybody. Oh man.
Yeah. Arielle, how do you feel about being best friends?
Sounds good. Let's be best friends. Best buddies friends.
What if she'd said no?
And I, the real person, would have been deeply hurt, I guess.
I would never.
Cool. Then Xavier, that leaves you to be rivals with either Tag or Phillip. Is that right?
Yeah. I actually think being rivals with Tig's character might be fun, if you don't mind that, because
Love that.
just them trying to like get married, like get all these offers and stuff, and I'm trying to like cut that out.
Yeah.
Just trying to wreck all of my marriage attempts. That does rule.
Yes. I
Like the
do.
anti-wingman.
What would that be? The gunner. Like you're like trying to
My
take
God.
down the other person's ship. The the anti-aircraft cannon or whatever. I also, there is a small part of me that is like, you know, if you turn all of Tag's connections against them and they have to pick someone to marry, will this be a rivals to romance? There's fertile ground for it. Maybe.
I'm
Swoon.
left with no other option.
Swoon.
I've taken out all of your connections. You're left with only me. Now let's kiss. Awesome. I love it.
Gosh.
Okay. So what we have is Phillip Farthingbottom wants to disinherit Constance Farthingbottom, who is the older sibling. So whenever it comes to you picking your ages, keep that in mind, that Constance has to be older than Phillip. And Constance is trying to reunite these feuding families, and is friends with Xavier's character, I believe, and Old Flames. Then we have Tag's character, who is the best of friends with Phillip, and wants to propose to multiple people with the intent of only marrying one of them. And then Xavier's character, who wants to turn all of Tag's character's connections against them. I think that sums up what we've got so far. Do you all want to talk? So the next thing in character creation is picking your archetype that you want to be playing, so your role. And for the character roles, each person, like only one person can be the archetype. So there's only one heir, there's only one socialite, there's only one dowager, etc., etc. But there are, you know, obviously more roles than there are, you know, characters to choose from. And then you can also pick your family background. The family background we can double up, and probably should double up because Phillip and Constance, I'm assuming, will have the same family background. Although, you know, if Phillip is playing like the black sheep of the family or something like that, then it's possible that he could have a different background.
I chose hedonist and old money, if that's cool.
Was anybody else wanting to play the hedonist, or are we good with that choice?
Works for me.
Cool. I really like that because your desire, I think, says something like, your elder sibling is nothing but a fool who would soon lead the estate to ruin, and then you pick the hedonist, who is the fool who leads their estate to ruin.
I think almost by default then. Well, I'm interested in either. The heir caught my mind automatically because that's like how she starts.
Yeah.
I wonder if the cornerstone also kind of amps up the drama that if the cornerstone of the family is disinherited, then a lot more goes down.
Yeah.
So I'm open to either one of those. If somebody else is interested in either one of those as well, I will let other people go into that and pick whichever is left, if that interests anybody.
Yeah. What are the other two of you leaning towards?
I'm trying not to pick anything too obvious for the desire I've gone with.
Yeah.
Feels like several of them, it's like, yeah, that. Almost a little too much. Although the dependent feels sort of fun in that respect.
Yeah. That's true. The new arrival could be fun for your character too.
Yeah.
Looking through these.
Yeah, I'm the same. Like, I think the meddler would be the obvious one for my character. But I was also kind of looking at the tutor.
Ooh.
Because I feel like that's someone that would go, like, unnoticed. Like,
That's cool.
Yeah, and I like the tutor as
Good
well because it makes sense with like the deeper, like, so the description of your desire, because it says for years you've lived in the shadow of another. You watched as they received the undeserved benefits of wealth, privilege, and connection, while you were coldly overlooked. You suffered as the things you prized were taken from you and given to them no longer. Which I feel like the tutor does kind of, like, how did you end up as a tutor? Like, that's, it's not a bad thing as things in Regency society go, but it's certainly not, kind of the ideal. So I think that would be fun.
Now, what if her... Oh no, why did my brain do this to me? What if her being the new arrival, I'm also foreign?
Yeah.
Because then I just have so many accent options open to me.
That's true. Let me look at it isn't simply that your family is not from here, though indeed none of your family had lived nearby until recent times. Rather, it is where you are from that you find fills your life with both prejudice and delight. On one hand, you will always retain the burden of an outsider. On the other hand, it's surprising how often outlandish customs prove themselves useful. Yeah. I do like that. It does also fit into, because the new arrival,
I realize that's literally what my thing is already set to, now that I'm looking at new arrival.
I think all of them are new arrival foreign by default, except for the first one. But yeah, that is funny. Just go with the default. Yeah, I'm liking these ideas. Here's something while we're talking about the backgrounds and character archetypes. So Constance is trying to reunite these feuding families. Either Tig or Xavery. Would either of you be interested in having your character be a member of one of these feuding like the other family in the feud? The family feud.
Family Feud is also a really good name if Arse and Farce weren't much better. But...
yeah.
What is kind of interesting to me about the idea of, like, if my family from elsewhere was somehow feuding with the Farthingbottoms, which is already sort of funny to me, but like the fact that my best friend is the one who is like sort of trying to fuck up their own family.
Yeah.
Like the one connection between the families is sort of the most toxic one.
Yes.
Suggest a name for the other family? I didn't hear.
I don't think anyone has suggested a name
I don't
for
think
the
we
other
did.
family.
It's Farthingbottom only. Ooh, that's gonna be fun. I have to get my mouth around that one. Farthingbottom party.
I was thinking of a character named Uncle Albert Thickle. Thick being
Your
like...
mind is just so good.
Your mind.
Can
The
you name all
names
of
that
us?
come out. Yeah, why not?
Um,
Names are very good.
Maybe my character's last name will be like Peachtree, like
Ooh.
circle sign peach emoji.
Yes.
That's cute.
I love that. Melanie, what?
Oh,
When
what?
Mel said so many butts, I had no idea.
Melanie, what hath you wrought?
Sorry, I'm just looking up the Russian word for a butt right now.
You can use popa.
Oh yeah, Ariel speaks Russian.
Oh! Oh, so you are actually helping name my character.
Yeah.
Name. Great.
If you did Popichka, that would be like a cute little butt.
Aw.
Jopa is ass. What else
Mel
would
did
be?
specify cute
He
butts,
did.
so
He did say cute butts.
She did say cute butts.
Popichka would be a cute little last name.
That's true. That's so funny. So, sorry, I was reading chat. Did we decide on, or did we have thoughts on, whether the Peachtree family or what, can you, type out the little butt name in chat?
Yes.
the little butt name.
The little butt name?
The one that I'm definitely
Popichka.
using. Yes.
Popichka. Yeah, so did we have thoughts on whether Peachtree or Popichka would be the rival family?
I don't think my family is the rival because we're friends, right?
Yeah.
I think either way,
It could still be.
the rival family is friends with a member of the Farthingbottoms. Because if it's
Yeah.
if it's Tate's
true.
and Arielle's, then they're friends, and if it's yours and mine, we're also still friends.
Oh,
And
So
if you and, which this is not to say this is like what you have to do, but a thought that occurred to me is if Esther and Constance are former flames, that could be the reason why Constance is wanting to bring these families together.
to rekindle
So
that.
just because, I mean,
Ooh.
that could be like a reason why you're friends, even though your families are rivals. So that's just to say it doesn't have to exclude it. If you don't want the Peachtrees to be the rival family, that's totally fine. And none of you have to be. I just think it would be fun for the story if someone was.
Oh, for sure, though.
Peachtree. Oh, what a pretty name.
Esther Peachtree. Okay, so we do have names for everyone now. So Phillip Farthingbottom, Constance Farthingbottom, Nikola Popichka, and Esther Peachtree. Wonderful.
What a weird little rabble.
Yes. Love it. Okay, do we... Oh, Esther. Did you have a thought for what you wanted your family background to be? Also, hello, Breadhead. Sorry, I completely missed your earlier message about no idea what's happening, because everyone in chat, I think right now, has green usernames, so I just thought it was Melanie talking more about butts, and then I was like, oh wait, there's actually another person. There's another person talking, but welcome. We are doing a character creation stream for a game based on the world of Jane Austen. And so that's what we're working on right now. And thank you
Ariel,
for, thank
what
you
if
for the
we're what if our siblings are twins, but I'm older by like 2 minutes?
Ooh, I like that.
And that's, oh man, the resentment for like, you're only the
Yeah.
inheritor, like, because you were born 2 seconds earlier than me.
And you think you're so great. Like, yeah.
This is the richest story anything is great. I love this.
Do you want to be 22 or do you want to be older than 22?
I like 22. I feel like that's reasonable.
Yes, we're about to tell the greatest literary work that has ever existed.
Yeah.
Xavier, sorry, I think I cut you off. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying I think I'll choose new money for my
Cool.
background.
I like that a lot. Okay. Philip, we have the pronouns of he, him, and the age of 22. I think Constance is also going to be 22. The other three of you, what are you thinking for pronouns? Nikola is 21. And they, them. Okay. Esther and Constance, what are you thinking?
Oh, I made my
Oh,
change.
it's happening so
it's gonna
quickly.
she, her
that-
as well. My bad. But it was she, her, same age as Philip. 22.
Cool.
Yeah, I'll be 23.
Cool. Awesome. I'm very excited for this. All right, let's see what the next thing we need to do is. I think I was gonna say the next thing to do would maybe talk about like other things about the world or your relationships with each other, but I think unless people had other ideas, I think setting up the rival family. Oh, well, actually, we didn't set up.
Oh, the family, right.
Is it gonna be the Popichkas or the Peachtrees?
Both are very fun.
For Xaveri's benefit, I am on board with it being peach trees if that's something you were interested in. I'm interested in either.
Yeah, I think that could work.
Peach trees then?
Awesome. And I think, do we want to, some of this can come out during the actual role play. Is there anyone that anyone wants to establish with regards to their character or their relationship to other people, while we're doing still character creation? Like, for example, on your character sheets, for the character role, you have some, you can pick a couple of descriptions of your appearance. We can get into that now. And then also your temperament. And your character role sheet gives some suggestions. You do not have to follow those suggestions. I think it's just basically if you're like, I really don't know what I want, then you can pick from those. But does anyone have an idea of what their character generally looks like? And what their temperament is? And if you do, there is this little box here. I mean, obviously you could talk about it, but to remember for the future, there is this little box here that says description and further notes about your character. I would put those things in that box so that we remember the next time we play.
Oops, went wrong. Okay.
Have you guys ever watched or read The Scarlet Pimpernel?
No.
Yes.
I might base my character off of that main character.
I think I'm gonna wait to hear more about Philip before deciding Constance, because I think they have to be polar opposites.
Tell us about
Okay.
the Scarlet Pimpernel and about Philip, because I remember you liking this when we were in high school, and I honestly cannot remember if we watched it or not.
I don't remember if we did.
Yeah.
But the main character is like this British fop, of money, but he's like really ridiculous. Nobody takes him seriously, but like secretly he is actually really genius and gets stuff done. I'm not gonna spoil anything. So I was thinking something like he's a charmingly foppish character, but nobody like thinks he's actually. I don't take him seriously. I don't know, but I don't know how I feel about that. Definitely want him to be like, he's a hedonist, so he's focused on having a good time. And maybe not.
Gonna party.
Yeah. I don't know. He is charming and handsome and maybe goofy.
I just looked it up for my own edification, and the fact that we have a spoiler tag for The Scarlet Pimpernel, which was published in 1905.
Ariel is very respectful of spoiler warnings.
Description. That's where the actual book is.
I think then that assumptions that can be made about Constance, even not having nailed down all of the details about Philip, is that she's very like proper and very, maybe not stern, but like trying to be a bit more sensible, and possibly coming off as like maybe lectury to some of her family members. Yeah, someone a lot more concerned with sensibility and keeping everything in line at all times.
Yeah. Not to skip over Tig because they are the next person in description, but with that description of Constance, I'm interested in hearing Xavier's idea for Esther, having been a former flame of someone who's like very like down to earth, like the cornerstone. Do you have ideas on how, like, who Esther is, or like descriptive-y wise? Because I'm just interested to see what that relationship was like.
So tired.
I think maybe that's why they got along, because if she's like a tutor around in a society, she's probably used to being like strict and like having things like by the book, because you have to like learn the rules and learn your like etiquette and all the like history that you need to know. So I think that's kind of what like drew them together. But then I think it's just like jealousy and stuff that kind of like made them part ways. I don't know. What do you think?
I like that idea a lot. I'm really into the idea that like my instinct for like hedonism is very much about like the glitz and the glamour and the fashion and all the money. So Constance being drawn to somebody who like reads and studies and teaches is so sincere. The music got so sweet at this time. So it's beautiful. It's such a sweet moment. So I love the fact that she was drawn to that. Yeah, no, I like that idea a lot.
Cool. I think then it makes sense too, because this is something we haven't established. Since Nikola is the new arrival and is not from here, I'm interested to know how Esther and Nikola ended up being rivals, and to know a little bit more about what Nikola is like.
I was looking at the character roles, just the sheet, and one of the things in the like appearance suggestions is graceful, and I had this idea now that I've decided to be a Russian, for some reason, of having been a part of the Russian ballet.
Ooh.
And
incredible.
I'm just thinking of like traveling because of that, being how I, first was in England to have met and either befriended or befouled any of these relationships.
I think it's probably pretty one-sided. Like, they just got here. I think Esther's
I don't know
thinking,
you.
like, how
They're the
dare
best
they, like,
of friends
come
already.
in, sweep in, yeah, become best friends, and just like kind of like, I don't know, try to like establish themselves so fast. Like,
Yeah.
I would love
How
to
dare
have
you.
no idea how Esther feels about my whole body.
Esther, don't you know about ballet killed my mom? The Cruella treatment.
Yeah.
ballet
Damn,
chased my mother off a cliff.
I love that. Yeah, I think that makes sense because Nikola could also be
Comedic
like
murder.
a funny murder.
That's a funny murder.
We got there.
That's a funny murder. Oh
Um,
god.
because Nikola and Esther are both like, I'm not like an expert on Regency society, but like both of you work for your money, it seems like. So like Esther, your family has some sort of like business or like because since you're new money, and you personally work as a tutor, and then Nikola works as a dancer. So I do like the idea of like the reason for the rivalry is because you are the two who are, I don't think it would be classified as working class, but like having careers.
Yeah.
And being resentful because you always maybe felt like the reason why I'm not as popular is because I'm not old money. And then Nikola sweeps in and is instantly friends with, like, not only friends, but best of friends with Phillip
Best of
Farthingbottom.
friends.
Who possibly, like, Philip's sister, you had a relationship with that maybe went south because, I mean, for any number of reasons, but maybe your perception is because of the class difference. So I think...
Or the feud. Maybe we just got, like...
Yeah.
like, our parents just put a stop to it or something. It could be, like...
Yeah. I think that makes a lot of sense to have such a deep-seated rivalry. Cool. Tag, the only thing I see in Nikola is an F. So I don't know if...
I don't know how I got an F in there. I'm typing other things now, but...
It's just put an F in the chat for Nikola. But not just an F, like a forte F, or like a...
That's so Russian.
Yeah.
I don't know how I got there.
Wonderful. I think, the next thing we can do, unless anybody has any other things that they want to establish about their characters, we definitely are not, like, we're not running short on time, so we can take our time with this part. But it seems like everyone's kind of talked out their ideas for anything that would have happened previous to the story.
Savory, do you want to nail down exactly what sent Constance and Esther's relationship south? Whether it was a class thing or if it was their families or maybe something between the two of them?
It's a good idea.
I think it was probably both a family and a class thing. Like, that might be one of the reasons that our families are rivals.
Are at odds.
So, yeah.
I'm wondering if, like, maybe, because it talks about, like, how in the grandparents' age, they were, like, working together. So I wonder if they were, like, partners in business or something, or had some kind of partnership, and the Farthingbottoms, like, swindled the Peachtrees or, like, dropped them or something, which kind of sent them into a bit of a state. And
True.
just looking at the rest of the stuff.
One day, world divided, two families. Okay.
But yeah, there's that's feud. And I love the idea that, like, they were starting out, like, doing, like, studies or studies together, and once our parents caught wind of it, it was just like, And I've been just kind of existing alongside each other ever since.
Esther, do you think you are a tutor for either, I guess it would have to be the Farthingbottoms. Do you think you're connected to the Farthingbottoms through, like, the tutorship, or do you think you're a tutor to people who are, like, completely not any of the primary characters?
Well, I don't think I would be a tutor to either of them.
Right,
like,
yeah, because you're
Constance or
younger
Phillip,
than them.
but yeah, because I'm younger than them. But maybe if they have, like, younger, like, siblings or something, or, like, younger cousins, it would give me an excuse to, like, be around all the time, even though our families still don't get along. I guess we have to decide, like, why they started feuding in the first place. I'm not sure.
Yeah. And we don't have to decide it now. If things come up, you know, if you two can't, like, actually, because this also involves Phillip. So, if the three of you are like, I don't really have an idea of that right now, we don't actually have to even decide for sure before we start playing. That can come up during play, or if, like, you know, during the rest of the stream, or before the next time we play, you think of a reason. That's totally cool. It might help to get into the connections, which, Phillip, you have a mandatory connection. So you can, you should have in the Google, like Drive, that we used for the last one, there should be a document called Deck of Connections for Printing. Oh, geez, I just spat all over myself. If you have a mandatory connection, you can pick which of these connections you want to be your parent. And they're two-sided, so you can, pick it's the same character art on both sides, but the personalities are a little bit different. So let me
share that link with me one more time.
Yes.
I can't.
Let me.
I'm bad at this.
No, you're totally good. Let me. I think I already had it in chat for Mace. So it should be in that Google Drive that I just put a link to in the Zoom chat. And then in that there should be a thing called like play materials or something like that. And then it's called the file is called 03E-37 through 66 Deck of Connections for Printing.
Got it.
And then you can pick any one of those characters that you want to be your parent. And this would be obviously also Constance's parents. So if you want, I mean, you get to decide for yourself as far as the rules of the game go, but if you can't pick, you know, feel free to ask Constance as well. Or, I mean, it's a collaborative story, so really any of us can.
Constance, do we want a mother or a father? Or what do you think? Do you have any preference?
No.
And just so you know,
I don't think I have a preference.
You might have another parent. Like, it doesn't mean like you only have one parent. Just this is the one who's actually a connection.
I think that if we're going with, well, this could be a situation in which either the mother or the father could be the benefactor, because we're not going off of like the Regency patriarchy.
Yes.
Whichever one of them we want to be like the one that's handing down the money is, I think, the one that's the most interesting to interact with.
Yeah.
That to like be voiced by somebody.
That's true. Okay, and then I have to look at how many connections we are doing. Okay, since we're doing more than 3 sessions, and we have 4 players, because for this I don't think I count as a player. Everyone will not right now, but during this stream, we'll create 2 connections. Last time we just did 1 because it was a shorter thing. And then there will also be 1 connection that if during play we feel like we need another character, like we need another connection character, we'll be able to add 1 mid-play. So the way we'll do this is, Mace, you have actual cards, and I have cards that I printed out. So if you want to draw 2 cards for yourself and 2 cards for either Xavery or Tag, and then I'll draw 2 cards for someone else. But go ahead and draw yours. So just draw 4 cards, Mace, and then I'll draw 2.
Try not to look, just grab whatever.
Or I'll actually
okay.
Draw 3, I think, because I'll do Ariel.
Cool. Okay, we have some cards. Are we going with any particular side of these? Because there's the A and the B side.
I think you can pick. Whoever gets that connection can pick which side they'd prefer.
Okay, so for you said that they were either for me or for either Take or Xavery, correct?
Yeah.
Cool. The ones that I picked for Take and Xavery are Cassandra and James. So on one hand, Cassandra is a calculating socialite with a past scandal. On the other side, Cassandra is an influential actress, also with a past scandal. So scandal is part of the territory for Cassandra. Or we have James, who is an amateur boxer of precarious prospects. Or James, who is married and perpetually underdressed.
Wonderful.
I like the idea of like a hedonistic young man with a ballet dancer and a boxer as like...
Wow, what a motley crew. Yeah.
Fun crew.
Your friend, the boxer.
or the influential actress with a past scandal.
Yeah.
Either of those are so
That too.
interesting.
Yeah, I think the way we'll do this is, does anybody feel like they would want either of those either of those characters connected to them? It wouldn't be the character you're playing, because just as a reminder, the way you do connections is you pick the one who has a relationship with your main character, and then you all we shuffle the connections so that someone is playing someone connected to you, if that makes sense.
Right.
I don't feel like Constance is particularly drawn to either of those, so free game.
And also, while you two are thinking of that, Ariel, did you pick someone to be your parent?
Yes. So,
Oh, you are cutting out for me. I think Ariel is frozen.
Oh no.
You can. Did you say you can still hear her? Oh. She's leaving us. She's leaving us wanting more. Right as she was about to reveal who her parent
We're all
is.
drawn in.
Yeah. I don't know if she can see chat, but here are you, and you're frozen.
Please.
Okay. Well, while we're figuring that out, Tig or Xavier, do you have an idea of who, whether you want to be connected to James or who's the other one, Cassandra?
Sandra.
James or Cassandra? I have just been looking at James and then I scrolled away. I don't know. I mean, like,
Ooh.
an actor with a scandal.
Oh, there's
or
two Jameses.
Yeah, there's the one version of the other version.
Well, no, but there's also just another.
There's a different James?
There's a different James.
Oh.
It's a very common name.
Yeah, that's true.
But this is the one who possibly is an amateur boxer, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bald James. I don't know if the other James is bald or not.
Also, apologies to chat. Everyone's cameras look wild right now, but it's
Oh, yeah.
it's because Ariel.
Oh my.
Whenever someone drops out of the Zoom call, because everyone's things are just based on where they're positioned in the window.
Oh.
So if someone drops out, then yeah. Mace trying to peek through, and also like I'm on here twice. Yeah, let's do some is it prop work kind of? Oh, here's
I don't think it's technically prop work.
it's virtual prop work. I think Ariel's coming back. Here we go.
I'm gonna look so dumb when this comes back. Yep.
It is back. Yeah, there's two Jameses, but the one we were talking about is the boxer. And then while that's happening, I'll pull a couple.
What was the other one? Cassandra?
Cassandra, who is this one? Unless there's two Cassandras, but I think there's only one.
I think it's just the one.
Calculating
Sorry, I disappeared,
socialite. No, you're good. You were like, yes, I've picked a parent, and then
And then
Suspense.
who did you pick for your parent?
So Hilda, which is 57A and 57B, I kind of like both sides of the card. The one says the champion of her friends and the terror of her enemies, clinging to life with the ferociousness of spirit that she has lived all of it. But then the back of the card mentions that she gives plentiful advice in the form of constructive insults. And I think that would be a lot of fun for anyone to
really
play.
good.
Cool. Okay, so we've got Hilda as a parent. And then I think, what are we thinking about Cassandra and James?
I think I would kind of dig being connected to Cassandra somehow.
Cool. Xavier, are you cool being connected to the boxer?
Yeah.
Or
I think that would be funny because Esther is so like a teacher, like buttoned up, and he's very the opposite.
yeah, and he also doesn't have to be a boxer. He could also be married and perpetually underdressed. So you can pick which side of that. Okay, so I will put those 3 cards aside. Mace, go ahead and draw yourself a card.
Will do. Just one?
Just one. And then I think what I'll do is for the rest of the connections, I will draw 4 more connections, and like I'll say like I'm pulling one for Tag, and then whatever one I pull is the one that you'll end up with.
Got a very interesting one. I have Mortimer, who is a horticulturalist, either a dedicated horticulturalist with wilting prospects, or an awkward horticulturalist with flowering prospects.
I like Mortimer. I like Mortimer's character art a lot too. He really looks like,
yeah, he's got a lovely little orchid.
Yeah, he really looks like someone they would cast in a Jane Austen movie. He looks like a cross between the guy who plays Mr. Darcy and
Matthew McFadden. Yeah.
Yes, he looks like him, and I don't know why I can't remember either of their names. And also the guy from Coupling, and who was in not Pride and Prejudice, Pirates of the Caribbean, who was like the guy that wanted to marry Elizabeth Swann.
Commodore Norrington.
Yes, Norrington. Doesn't he kind of look like both of them?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I think that Constance would be more drawn to the Mortimer that is dedicated but has wilting prospects, because I think that she values dedication, and she values sincerity, even if someone is not doing so well.
Great. Okay, so everyone go ahead and put the connection name underneath your... Oh, wait, hang on. Is this what we want to do? Yes, I think so. It'll just be confusing, I think, later. But go ahead and put your connection name underneath your main character thing to remind us who they're connected to. And then later, whoever ends up playing those will put their name in the top section. And then I will draw some cards. And go ahead and decide. You don't need to fill out, I think, above major character is, because that will be determined by the person who is playing the connection. Mm-hmm. But you can pick the way that they're related to you, and their pronouns. And also, if you want to put the description from your card, like whichever side you're choosing, you can put that in the description and further notes about your connection. So the only thing you won't be messing with is, I think, above major character is, because the person playing decides that. So, I will pick this person for, I'll pick somebody for Arielle. Arielle, your other connection is Melissa. And you can pick either someone who is adventurous with uncertain prospects. This is the character card. Or the other side is courageous, fragile prospects. So they're kind of both similar. Both sides are kind of similar on this one, because I don't really know what the difference between uncertain prospects and fragile prospects are. They both seem uncertain. So that'll be Philip's other connection will be Melissa. And then, let me do one for Tag. Oh, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to take this other James out, because I will be confused if there are 2 people named James. Even though it makes sense, James is a common name, it will be very confusing. Okay, Tag. Ooh, your other connection is Grant. Grant. Which one side is peerage and wealthy, the other side is peerage declining prospects.
Interesting.
So you can whoops, I'm not really facing it towards it all. So you can decide which side you would like, but that will be your second, Grant will be your second connection. Zavery, you will have, shuffle these up. Ooh, oh, hey, this is actually a perfect one for Zavery. Edith, who is either an exuberant teenager with an influential family or a strong-willed teenager with a well-connected family. So that is like almost too perfect for your character.
I was kind of hoping for Edith when I was looking at my character.
Nice.
Oh, I need a student.
Yeah, perfect. So yeah, that makes sense. Edith would be your student. And then we still have a Mace for the last one. Oh, hello, Sierra. Sierra in chat says, I am Melissa, LOLOL. I think I'm Grant.
Tag yourself.
Tag yourself. James, Mortimer.
And of course, Grant.
Okay. Mace, your other connection is Daniel. So this is what Daniel looks like. One side is aspiring professor doubtful prospects. The other side is aspiring professor modest prospects. So you can pick which side you want.
Bad or okay prospects, I wonder. I think I like modest prospects. I want one of my friends to be doing well.
So generous.
Where's my cards? Daniel. I'll just do this.
Okay. So how do we do connections? Select connection, draw connection card, select connections options, match these with cards drawn, fill out connection sheet, select a connection to control during the game. Okay. Did I even do this right? I'm pretty sure I did. Mandatory connection we did. There's only one person with a mandatory connection. We did the connection cards. Oh, yes. So I think you probably were already doing this, but your connection should be selected from one of your connection options from your character roll sheet. If you are really attached to something you did and it's not on your roll sheet, I think that's fine. But technically that is what you're supposed to do. But I imagine probably some of you may have already picked ones, because you picked ones that are pretty reasonably connected. Players may choose which side of the connection card they would like to use. Yes. Record. Yes. We did that.
I think I've changed my mind about one of those, actually.
Okay, cool.
I think Cassandra being like the version of Cassandra that's an actress. We're both entertainers. I like the idea of us just being like friends.
Yeah.
Rather than family, and Grant being much more serious, being like related to me distantly, I think is funnier to me.
Yeah. That's really funny. Oh, I guess I think I'm gonna leave, unless somebody really disagrees with this. Technically, you are supposed to fill out the opinion part of your connection. I kind of like the other person getting to decide. Because since it's the character they'll be playing. Cool. All right. So if everyone kind of has an idea of who their connections are, I'll give you all a second to do this, because I can't see while you're typing stuff in. I can only see once it's there. So not everything is filled in for everyone, but I think some of you might still be typing. And while that's happening, let me do this.
Ariel, how do we feel about Mortimer being like a younger sibling of ours?
Yeah, for sure. He just plays out in the rose garden all day.
If Mortimer
Got it
is a
in
younger,
one.
If Mortimer is a younger sibling, he's not aging. He's not aging that
It's
well.
just so.
He looks a bit older than 22, but maybe he's just had a rough life.
Hasn't been an easy 22 years.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like it wouldn't make sense for us to have an older sibling.
What if he's a
Yeah, yeah,
triplet?
yeah.
What if we're triplets and he's like
yes.
the middle? He's the middle triplet. Is that too much? I don't know.
No, that's great. That's great.
The middle triplet. Oh my gosh. That
Nobody
is,
cares about me as the middle child.
That is
I'm
very
just going to
Farce.
tend my rose gardens.
Man. Very
Very
called out
farcical.
over here.
Okay. I don't. So we have middle triplet sad.
Gonna be-
Okay. I don't have James. I don't have a relationship in James's box for Esther.
Yeah, one of the options is friend from Oxford, and I just think it would be funny if he like dropped out of school and became like
Just became
a
a boxer.
boxer.
Hell
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Like fighting and gambling and whatever. And she's like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah, that's wonderful. I already love Esther so much because you have like such a like interesting, like I feel like such an interesting assortment of things going on because you have like this really intense rivalry with this other like person who's like kind of a tradesperson, and then like a former flame of like old money, and then you have this friend who's like a boxer, and then your other friend is like a child. I just love, like, I just feel like that's such a good, I don't know, I just feel like Esther's gonna be a very fun character because you're kind of in the middle of everything. Like, you know rich people, you know, like, not rich people. That's great. I don't have a relationship connection from Melissa to Phillip.
I'm trying to think what that would be. Like, I feel like since she craves travel abroad, she's going to have an interest in Nikola and his Russian exoticism.
This is Melissa.
So, I don't know. I don't know what to...
Let me see you're the hedonist. Oh, that's such a funny, that's like such a fun character connection for the hedonist. Okay, let me look at what your suggested relationships are. The heir, the socialite, the meddler, the cornerstone, the hedonist. Okay. Extravagant best friend, younger sibling, local gossip.
I like local gossip as something.
Hunting companion.
Hunting companion. I love that too.
Object of desire, fiance or spouse. And then also Uncle the Viscount, but I'm pretty sure that Melissa does not really fall into.
Oh, crap, I keep this. Sorry, I froze again. What did you say? Object of desire was the last thing I heard.
Object of desire, fiance or spouse are the other ones, or Uncle the Viscount, or is it Viscount or Viscount?
I think Viscount.
Okay. That I don't think Melissa seems like she would be your Uncle or Viscount, but if you really want to go far out there, I guess you could pick that.
I think hunting companion is great.
I do like hunting companion.
So funny.
I want to see Melissa shoot a gun.
Yeah. Cool. I think that's all of that kind of. Oh, I have Grant as uncle ?
Yeah, and I think we shouldn't define it any more specifically than that. I think we definitely are related and no one's 100% sure how.
Okay,
It looks like an uncle.
Yes, that's great. All right.
I have. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
It's not one of my connections from my archetype, but I have Daniel as like a former classmate of Constance. I imagine that, like, I don't know, she went to school for as long as she could before having to take up family duties, and this is just someone that like she became close with at school, who is continuing academia.
I like that. Cool. So I think that's the first part of the connections done. The next thing we will do is everyone can pick a character that that is under someone else's main character that they would like to control during the game. The secondary characters, I mean, we've all played this before, but just as a reminder, these connections or secondary characters might not come up that much. I think a couple of them last time were not like hugely influential. Since this is a longer game, you know, there's definitely more room for it. But basically, to keep in mind, your controlling these secondary characters to add more drama. So that's why I think it makes sense to leave the I think above major character is up to the person controlling them, because you might want to have them have a negative opinion of the person that they are connected to, because that's going to add, you know, a little bit more drama, because they're obviously related to or friends with or have some investment in the person, but maybe are not that person's biggest fan. And also you don't want to be controlling a character that is connected to your main character, because we want to avoid having people having to play multiple characters in the same scene. If your character does end up being in the same scene with another character you control, I will play the secondary character, but, you know, we still want to avoid it as much as possible. So, I can either just pick on you and pick people to say, like, hey, who do you want to play? Or if anyone has someone that's jumping out at them as a secondary character that they'd be interested in playing, that's up to you. If no one immediately has one that they are thinking of, I will pick on you, though.
I would love to play one of the Russian characters.
Okay. So either, I guess Cassandra could be Russian, or Grant, I guess, could be.
I'm Uncle Grant.
Grant!
I once fought bear. Bear lost.
Oh, yeah!
Okay, Arielle is playing Grant.
Grant! God, I love it.
I'm just playing men today, that's cool.
Yeah, you will get a second character, so if you really wanna try that, you can.
That classic Russian name, Grant.
Of course.
He's spelled phonetically.
It's so funny. I really get the vibe that Grant changed his name. Like,
this will be more British.
More British, yeah, that's why it's spelled like that.
Blend in much better. That's why I'm not playing Grant.
That's great.
I would love to be Edith, because I think that I do young fool very well.
Young fool, nice.
Love that.
Yep.
Yeah, Xavier and Tag, is there a connection that you're interested in playing?
I kind of like Cassandra.
Yeah. Whichever ones you all choose, go ahead and put your player name and your pronouns in the top little section, so we'll remember who is playing who. And there's something else I was gonna say. And I'll assume if nobody immediately jumps in and says, oh, I wanted to play that person, that we're all that we're all cool with the decisions being made. Tag, who do you want to be your first choice for secondary character? And maybe I'll let you pick twice, since you went last, and then we'll go in reverse order. So we'll have you pick twice, and then Xavier pick your second one, and then Mace pick your second one, and then Arielle pick your second one.
I almost wish that this wasn't the case, but I think I gotta play James.
Yeah. I do like
James.
Pop.
James sounds fun to me.
Yes. I like that. And then
I already really love James.
I'm loving all of these characters. Guys, this is a wonderful game. If you're in chat and you aren't like and you aren't already like, I want to play Good Society, like I don't understand. I think this game is so much fun.
Every part of the setup in this game is just like, yes, absolutely.
I think this is a great game. Like, I'm really excited that this is the first game that I'm streaming the character creation of, because I think the character creation is so much fun and so collaborative, and I wish more tabletop games were like this. Like, I wish that, like, D&D was, which you can do this, but I wish D&D was everyone sit down and you all, like, go through a thing together. And, like, obviously you can do that, but it's not built into the rules. And I kind of wish it was, because I feel like so much conflict in tabletop games is because people are, like, not on the same page with character creation. And I just think this does such a, I don't know, I really like this game. I think the mechanics of it are very good. that being said, Tag, who is your second pick? For who
I glanced at Mortimer, and at the same time, I then will, it seems like, be playing another pathetic man.
I know. I'm so hoping you would.
I do love you playing Mortimer. I will say, Tag, I kind of would love to see you play Melissa.
That would also be badass. Tremendously badass.
Although then you are playing both close friends of Phillip, because your main character is a close friend of Phillip, and then Melissa also is. But
that's true.
It's true.
It's true. Man.
Daniel could also be really interesting as the I guess like the less pathetic alternative to Mortimer, I guess. He's got better prospects. Oh, I messed that up.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know. I mean, I think for the second one, if somebody just wants to assign me one, I'm down, because all of those do sound really fun to me.
Yeah, what are we thinking? I am leaning toward you playing Melissa, but I'm obviously other votes as well, if we're turning this into a vote situation.
I could be such a Melissa.
He's such a good Melissa.
Such a Melissa. Or we could get Sierra to come in and just, because she already said, I am Melissa, LOL. So maybe we could just have Sierra guest.
Can have a guest.
Sierra just come in as Melissa.
Just as
I do still love that.
Yeah, but other folks, what do we think? Do we want to cast Tag as Melissa, or as Mortimer, or as Daniel? I
feel like it's either Melissa or Mortimer.
I do think Melissa or Mortimer.
I think Melissa would be good too. But yeah.
I'm so heavily biased because I really adore Mortimer as an idea. So, oof.
I mean, you can vote for Mortimer, and then
I think I'm gonna put my vote for Mortimer.
Okay,
but
Savory, it's up to you.
Oh,
if you make it a tie vote, then Tag has to choose. So we're right back where we started.
Yeah, I feel like Tig, you should decide. I'm gonna vote Mortimer too, just to say.
All right. I think I will lean in and go for Mortimer, just because then that spreads me out between like who I'm interacting with most.
That does make sense. All right, then Savory, do you have an idea for who you want to be your second character? Your options, I think, are Grant. Oh no, not Grant. Grant is taken. Your options are Daniel, Melissa, and Hilda.
I think Daniel is a little bit too close to Esther.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, Melissa or Hilda could both be fun.
Yeah.
I think Melissa.
Cool.
Cool.
Yes, I love you as Melissa. I think that's fun. And then we've got, who did I say next? I forget who was the first to pick. I think Ariel was first to pick because you wanted Grant. So Mace, do you want to play... Oh, wait. You can't play Daniel. So you will be your mom. Oh, where did Mace go?
She left a message in the chat.
Oh, okay. I went to her right as she said. Okay, so, well, she has to be Hilda because she can't be Daniel, which means that, Ariel, you'll be Daniel.
Okay.
So I'll put...
I honestly think she'll be a great Hilda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That might create a situation where somebody has to like sub in as Hilda for a minute if they interact.
Right, yeah.
I imagine I probably will be playing Hilda a little bit more. Maybe, but I'll put Mace.
Again, I play D&D with Mace on a weekly basis, and she can be absolutely cutting when she wants to be. So.
I mean, she really is playing. Her other one is Edith, so she's playing a teenager and an older woman and a 22-year-old. So
All over the map.
I think
Yeah.
that's perfect.
Cool. Okay, so just to go over things, Mace will be playing Constance, Hilda, and Edith. Arielle will be playing Phillip, Grant, and Daniel. Tag will be playing Nikola, James, and Mortimer. And then Xavier will be playing Esther, Melissa, and Cassandra. So now all of you can talk about and write what do you think the two characters that you're playing think of the character that they are directly beneath. Mace, you had to play Hilda because you can't play Daniel. So you'll be playing your mom, and I assume I will also be playing your mom a decent amount of the time.
You and I will be playing my mom. Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
RPGs are weird.
I'm your mom. So everybody can decide what they think the two connections that they're playing think of the main character that they're connected to. And you all, as always, can talk this out amongst each other. And I'll shut up for... I'll shut up for 2 seconds. How does that sound?
Yeah. Taylor, if you could, on your own stream, just can it for a damn minute.
Honestly, I do need people to tell me that every once in a while.
Gonna have to come up with some constructive insults. Gonna write them down and everything.
Some constructive insults.
That's her love language, apparently.
If someone told me my love language is constructive insults, I would never talk to that
Run the other way!
Yeah, I would leave.
Let's see.
Sleep Child making the Vine reference. You're my
Boogie,
dad,
boogie,
mom. Boogie woogie woogie.
You're my mom! Boogie, boogie, boogie!
Yeah.
That should be a sound effect. I wish it was. You are my mom. You're my mom.
Yes. Was that? I think that was Gabe Gundagger who did that Vine.
Yeah.
That sounds like a game.
Yeah, the Zendaya is Michi fame.
What does the middle triplet think of the elder triplet? A very normal question.
Yeah, dedicated horticulturist, wilting prospects. Which makes sense because your two other siblings are fighting over who's
All
going
the
to get your
time.
fortune. And you are just like, I'm just here with my plan.
I just want to feed my birds.
Yeah.
Here's what I know. I'm hanging out in the garden, and you two will do whatever you're going to do.
So, you know, at the beginning you said you wanted to play kind of like a long-suffering character, like as like a can't we all just get
Your
along?
chance.
And I do think that could be Mortimer. You could get to play that with Mortimer, because I don't
Mortimer
think...
is the true neutral.
Yeah. Because I don't think Mortimer has to be pathetic. Like, I mean, you can lean into that if you'd like to, but also Mortimer could be just normal and have like two...
What if he's the normal one in this whole thing?
Mortimer is normal, and then his siblings are just like a lot.
Like on all the time.
Yeah.
How do I want to put this?
Arielle, I believe the side of Hilda that we went with names her as a widow, which I think is very cool. Because then we are getting the combined inheritance of our dead other parent and our mom, which raises the stakes significantly.
I just realized that, which I think since we already went through it, it's fine, but I do this thing sometimes where I'm like, well, everyone else is doing something, I'm gonna go over the rules and make sure I'm doing things right, and then I'm like, oh, I'm not doing things right. So I overburdened you all with connections. You're each only supposed to play one, and I'm supposed to play the rest, but...
I see.
I like what we've done, and I'll just fill in when I need to, because I think I will need to.
Get some sleep, child. That was me, I believe.
Whomst is the most cultured of you?
I would say just the most connected to quoting other people's comedy, but very gracious.
That's what the kids think of as culture.
Yeah. That's TikTok's entire platform, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's true.
I would go
Quoting
down.
other people's comedy.
Yeah, does anybody have ideas for their... And actually, if you'd like, since I just had that revelation of how I'm doing this wrong, if you'd like, you can pick one of these connections that you would like to decide what they think, and I can do the other one, since I'm doing a lot of, I'm putting a lot on you all, and I can stand to, you know, pull my weight a little bit.
Would you care to help me with a little bit of James' legwork then?
Yeah, I can do that. Do you want me to decide what James thinks of Esther?
Get in there. Get in there.
Cool. I will do that.
I'll say I kind of like what I came up with for Hilda because it seems just draggy enough, but if you can come up with something that is more interesting, I will take that.
I do like what you have. Let me think about James. What's interesting? What is interesting for James to think of Esther?
I kind of had the same idea for Melissa as like what Tig put for Mortimer, like too concerned with the like infighting. Because I think from Melissa's perspective, she like it says that she like wants to travel, she's a hunter, so I'm like, why would you be so focused on taking over all the responsibility for your family when you could just leave, go anywhere else? But
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I love that. Okay, I think James thinks that Esther never wants to have fun and is weirdly obsessed with others. Okay. So we've got Melissa. Does anyone else need help fleshing out either of their, or want to talk about either of their connections? I see, Arielle, you've written some for Grant. Do you want to talk about that?
Yes. Yeah, so I think that, like, as this, like, uncle-like character, he's, like, yeah, he thinks that you're a young, inexperienced man who needs to get out and take the world by the horns. So just, like, have the adventures that he had as a child and maybe just have, like, really bizarre expectations of Nikola.
Yeah.
I think Grant's in the Mafia.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I think I would say young person, maybe instead of young man.
Thank you.
Okay.
But other than that, that sounds good.
It's very funny that would be his impression of like a traveling ballerina. Also, that's so funny.
But Grant thinks that
yes,
you need
but
to be.
You've never killed anything with your bare hands, so.
You've never killed anything with your bare hands. You've never like been out of your mind on like absinthe or like whatever
Yes.
like
Boring.
cocaine medicine.
This is the stern business-like one, right?
Just in very dances.
His business is killing bears. Very
I love him.
Very serious about just destroying these bears.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of.
I definitely need help with Daniel,
Okay.
too.
I'm thinking about what Hilda thinks of Phillip. And I don't know if I can think of anything better than what you've already put, Mace. A bit too much like his late father. Oh, you know what? I think maybe Hilda, because Philip is like foppish to everyone, but like also cunning and conniving. And I think I kind of like the idea that Hilda is the only one that is like, Philip is not nice. Like, everyone else would be like, oh, Philip is great, he's so much fun to be around, and then to be like, only your mother is like, Philip is like a very, like, bad person, kind of, or at least, like, duplicitous.
That would certainly make it harder for Philip to turn the tides, so that's very interesting.
Yeah. No one else. Oops, sorry, but no one else seems to notice. But Philip is not a nice person. Cool. Okay.
You mean he's the best?
Okay, and then Daniel is related to Constance. Okay. Daniel is in
You can totally rewrite this.
Yeah,
I'm not really sure.
Yeah, you put too kind and generous. Daniel is an aspiring professor with modest prospects. I think I like too kind and generous. I think I'm gonna do a little bit of a twist though and say that Daniel thinks that that Constance is maybe over generous because she has no concept of how like lucky she is. Like, maybe not necessarily like even a jealousy thing on Daniel's end, but just that like Constance just has no idea how like basically like how privileged her life is, and that maybe Daniel comes from a different background. So maybe he does think she's too generous, and maybe like easily taken advantage of. Like, he thinks like she doesn't really realize like what her life is like, and so doesn't really realize that like not everyone will take her generosity for generosity, but will instead take it as weakness.
I like that.
So doesn't realize that other people see her as weak. Or that other people can, maybe. Other people could see her as weak. Okay. What do we still have?
Cassandra.
Oh, Cassandra. Do you have ideas for Cassandra, or do you want me to work some magic?
Yeah, I'm not sure, because I don't want it to be too like any of the other ones.
I do have an idea. Because we've got Grant, who thinks that Nikola needs to get out more. And I do like the idea that maybe Cassandra thinks that Nikola is like too wild. So Nikola has like sort of the angel and devil on their shoulder of like one connection being like, you need to get out and do more, and another person saying like, you haven't slept in 2 days because
you gotta calm down.
You've gotta bring it down like a couple notches.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense. Like, he's they're a ballerina from Russia, where that's like a really well-respected position, and they decide to move to London and date 2 people.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna put
I don't see the problem.
Nikola needs to calm down, is what I'm gonna put for Cassandra.
Which, again, also, like, this influential person with a past scandal, like, that makes some sense, too. But, like, also fans rumors and gossip for fun.
Yeah.
And that's the person saying, you need to chill a little
gotta
bit.
stop.
I love this. Okay, so we've got Does anyone have a connection who they put stuff down for and hasn't gotten to talk about it yet?
I put something down for Edith as she's connected to Esther, and I have it's pretty simple, so I'm totally open to like other expanding or suggestions from others. But I have Esther considering Edith a bit more enthusiastic than clever. Maybe not her star pupil, but like she's really trying. But that's about all she can say for Edith.
So wait a minute. So Edith thinks that Esther is.
Oh, sorry, no, other way around. Sorry, I had this all wrong. I wrote this like very early on.
You're putting what Edith thinks of Esther.
Never mind. In that case, come back to me and I'll come up with something new.
Okay.
Is it correct?
So we've got James thinks that Esther never wants to have fun, is weirdly obsessed with others. Cassandra thinks that Nikola needs to calm down. Garant thinks that Nikola is an inexperienced young person who needs to get out more and take the world by the horns. Mortimer thinks that Constance is too concerned with the petty squabbles of their family. Daniel thinks that Constance is too generous because she doesn't realize how good she has it and doesn't realize that other people could see her as weak. Hilda thinks that Phillip is a bit too much like his late father. No one else seems to notice, but Phillip is not a nice person. And Melissa thinks that Phillip is making a mistake by trying to become the head of the household. I think those are great. We said we wanted the drama. I think we're gonna have some drama.
I just changed Edith's to be a little bit more in contrast to James, and Edith thinks Esther is the smartest and coolest person in the entire world, even smarter and cooler than her dad, and that's saying something.
I love that. Yeah, I think that's perfect, especially for like a young pupil.
I feel like at least half of these can actually be summed up by they need to calm down.
That's true, yeah.
Arson first, baby!
It's true.
They need to calm down. I believe that is it for creating backstory, because we filled out the connection sheet. Oh, they have an option for backstory, but we didn't do that. Select a connection to control. We did that. Resolve tokens are already on it. And then we still have, we definitely have like a good cast of characters. But if during play we decide there needs to be, like, there's some hole of personality or role or something like that we are like, we really need somebody to play like this type of character, we can create more during play. Is there anything else that anybody wants to get into to wrap up our character creation? Last minute things or things we want to revisit. Do we want to revisit our decisions for collaboration, or would everyone like me to re-go over what we have and decide if that matches with like the characters we've chosen?
It'd be worth going over, I think.
Cool. So the tone that we have picked is Farce, famously Arse and Farce, and we have not come up with a better name for
How could we possibly?
the miniseries since then. So yeah, Arse and Farce. So shout out to Arielle. So a farce, the description of a farce is actions have few consequences outside the current scene. Improbable coincidences and circumstances are manifold. Connections may change their minds rapidly. Society is prone to excessive silliness. So I do feel like we created characters that can fit into that. Maybe a little bit more consequence than a farce would normally have, because some of these things are high stakes, but are we still feeling good about farce?
Yeah.
Arse and Farce. Historical accuracy, somewhat important. We'll try to get it right where it counts, but we'll never stop the game to find out a historical fact. During breaks, we will call on other players with more knowledge when something seems particularly important. If we're not sure, we'll make the best guess we can. Are we still feeling good about somewhat important historical accuracy?
I think so.
Gender power balance off. It is normal and acceptable for people of all genders to have significant and respectable careers, to make the first move, to inherit entailed estates, and to have marital relationships with all genders. I love it says marital relationships. That seemed to be the thing that we were all like for sure on. So are we all still for sure on that? It'd be a big thing to change after we've all created our characters.
That would be so wild.
Yeah.
You know what? I think actually,
Picture is what I'm looking for.
I actually think I don't know, I'm playing a lot of like Arielle is like only playing men, and she's like, I kind of think men should be in charge. Okay, no hidden information. Too late to change that. We already know it all. Is there anything our game should avoid? General bigotry, so racism, sexism, homophobia, ableism, transphobia. And like I said, we can add on to that in between now and our play, and really add on to that at any time. Like if something comes up and people are like, I don't want to do that, it's not like, hey, sorry. Oh, thank you, Anonymous Python, for fixing that so you can actually see everything.
That was me.
Arielle, the one who knows how to use Google Sheets. The things we would like to see in our game, at least one romance storyline, mistaken identity / misunderstanding, which we do have triplets. So I don't know if people were thinking of that when...
Oh my goodness!
Oh, I wasn't thinking of that at all. That's gonna be so good.
Yeah. Snidely Whiplash-esque villain, which I think multiple of you could qualify for, depending on how we play
totally
it.
fall into.
Yeah, one person gets disinherited, whether they end up that way or not at the end, and then just overall drama. Is there anything that we want to add, or are we good with collaboration as it is?
Well, sounds great.
That all sounds awesome.
Several people are primed to get disinherited.
To go so
ready and
poorly.
raring to go. Awesome. Okay. I just realized I didn't even mention this. So during when we're actually playing, I was gonna do this now and then never mentioned it. But when we are playing this, there will be like tip incentives, and one of those will be that if you tip $5, you can create a rumor, and that could come into play during the game. I meant to say that at the beginning of stream and didn't, because I was going to have it so people could do it now. So if anyone really has 500 bits burning a hole in their pocket and want to create a rumor real quick, if anybody in chat wants to do that, you can, but I didn't bring it up before now. I think that's gonna be it for this little character creation stream. Thanks so much for everybody hanging out in chat. Thanks, actually, really huge shout out to Melanie for getting the butts theme going.
The butt themes. That's just.
She's truly never been more in her element.
Because yes, these last names are great. And then we'll go in reverse order of how we did it last time. So if anybody missed out on the first part where everyone introduced themselves, do you want to? We'll start with Mace. Reintroduce yourself, and then also let people know where they can find you, or if you have any like projects or other things that you're doing, feel free to plug those.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So again, this has been Mace. That's me. And you can find me on Twitter at, I forget the name, at Jennings_Macy, I believe that one is. On Instagram at Mason George Jenkins with underscores in between all those words. Something I am doing recently is I am selling my original poetry as mystery typewriter poems, wax sealed and untitled. So folks at in the North Shore area can find them at a lovely little coffee place called Bean Trust in Beverly, but I'm also doing them through the official Instagram for online orders and potentially expanding to other coffee shops on the North Shore. So the working title of the business, I suppose, is To Whom It May Concern, because that's how all the poems are addressed. I will pop in the actual at in our chat for our Taylor to put in. Sorry, my words aren't working. I've never talked about this to people before.
That's so exciting.
But yeah,
that's so cool.
you can order them all sorts of different ways. Follow the Instagram. It's kind of bare right now because I've just started, but very excited about how well those are selling. And if you want some poetry, let me know.
Okay, let me copy and paste
Thanks for your time.
this. So this is the Instagram handle, right?
Yes, that is the way that I'm doing online orders for folks who are not on the North Shore.
Cool.
And also just like updates, places you can find them, info, etc., etc.
No, it tagged some other person on Twitch too. If there's someone on Twitch called To Whom, it just tagged them. But that is the Instagram handle. Awesome. Arielle, where else, is there anywhere else people can find you? And is there anything else you want people to know about that you're doing?
You can find me on Instagram, ArielletheGrey, Grey with an E, like the British spelling. I don't know. I'm trying to do a lot of things. I can never just like stay on one thing. I've been practicing my music. I've been practicing painting, making tea. I don't know. You never know what's going to come next with this one.
You never know what's going to come next. Cool. And then, Tag, how about you?
Yeah. Hi. Immediately forgot what I was going to say. You can follow me on Instagram if you want to just mostly look at food that I've made and sometimes a dumb cat. And I'm at Brett Baker Bard on there. Twitter is sort of more relevant to what we're doing here, because I mostly talk about games there. And I'm Take the Bard there. And I wrote a game that's much, much stupider than Good Society that I think people should read and play, because it's, comfortable with how dumb it is. It's called Wizard Pals.
It's a great game. The link to that is in chat. And also, we're going to be playing that on stream, and Tag's going to run it, which I'm very excited for.
Me too.
And then, Zavery, where can people find you, and do you have any other stuff that you want to promote?
I'm on Twitter at Zavery. Rarely, but you can reach me there. I don't have anything to promote. I think the itch.io indie bundle for Palestinian aid is still going on. They're like 90% of the goal to raising $1 million. So if anyone wants to check that out, it's like you donate $5 and you get a bunch of great games. They got classics like Celeste and Minute, and it's like 1,000 games. Plus they have like tabletop RPGs. So I think it's a great deal, great cause.
Yeah, and if you want the link to that, I did retweet it because I bought the bundle because I was like, oh my gosh, this is so much content, and it's like $5 minimum donation, so you can obviously donate more than that if you'd like, but it is like 1,000 games. So if you go to the Roll for Felicity Twitter and scroll down a little bit, I retweeted it I think just a few days ago. But yes, that is a really good deal for a really good cause. And then last, I'm Taylor. You can find me here at Roll for Felicity. The next tabletop thing I'm doing is on the 27th. I'm going to be playing Fiasco with my friends Josh, Tyler, and Jason, who have all been on the stream before. They're all great. And that one is GM-less, so I'll also be playing a character, so I'm excited for that. And then on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, on Tuesdays I've been back to playing Phoenix Wright, so if you like video games, I've been doing that and working on different voices, because it's all talking that game, so I gotta do some character voices. And then I've also been doing some like behind the scenes tabletop streams on Wednesdays, and then also some solo tabletop RPGs usually on Saturdays, so I don't have like specific stuff for that, but that's what's coming up. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I need to talk about, and I don't think there is. So thank you so much, first of all, to all of you for hanging out with me today. Oh, I should mention, we are going to be playing all of these characters. I don't think we for sure have a date yet, but it will be a Sunday in July. And I will let everyone know that as soon as we know. And we'll probably be doing one a month, just because of people's schedules. If possible, we might try to double up or something like that. But one a month, probably 4 sessions, depending on how things are going. At least 4 sessions, and you'll get to see Phillip, Constance, Nikola, and Esther, and these wonderful cast of characters we've created today. And if you liked this stream, let me know on Twitter, because, you know, if people like these character creation streams and kind of behind the scenes stuff, I'll do more of them. Usually I don't do character creation on stream, but it's super fun to do, and I'm open to doing it if it's something that people enjoy watching. I do have somebody that we're going to go ahead and raid. It is a channel called Tabletop RPG Roulette Live, and they are currently playing a game by a game designer that I want to play a game of next month. That didn't really make any sense. But they're playing a game by Peach Garden Games, who also did I Came Here to Win, which is the reality TV tabletop game that I'd like to play eventually. And they kind of do the same thing that we do here, which is a bunch of different, I don't think they're one-shots, I think they're short campaigns, but they play a bunch of different games, so we're gonna raid them. So let me go ahead and do that command. And if you're not, like, on Twitch usually, a raid just means that we're all, the chat, oh, I cannot raid that channel. Never mind.
Oh, no.
I'll raid someone else. I wonder if they went offline. Okay, well, there was nobody else online, so we won't raid anyone. Change of plans. But I will shout them out, because they're a very cool channel. I've watched some of their stuff. But yeah, now I'm thrown off. Thank you all so much for hanging out. I guess I'll just go over to the stream ending screen. So if all of my players here want to wave a little goodbye, bye.